I started Surviving Skye with the goal of bringing more awareness to my sister Skye's disappearance. And I thought the best way to do this would be to start a podcast. That way I can really get into the details and bring some humanity to this case. The truth is, I didn't know how to start a podcast. So when I discovered Spotify for podcasters, it had everything I needed. I could record, edit, and then send it out to all the streaming platforms out there. I didn't need to take too much time getting hung up on all the technical aspects. So if you're out there and you're listening to this and you have something that you're passionate about and you just feel like you can inform the world about what you know, then why not start a podcast and check out Spotify for podcasters today? This is episode 5 of Surviving Skye. Conversations with Our Mother. Chapter 1. Over the next few episodes, I'm going to share with you a personal conversation I had with my mother about Skye, Skye's disappearance, and everything that surrounds that. I didn't line up any questions or agendas for my mom. I wanted to capture the raw and organic conversations that we have. I wanted to keep it personal, though many people are affected by Skye's disappearance. Only my mother and I share the brunt of this journey. We were the only ones to go to Japan, the only ones to deal with the authorities, the only ones expected to keep a brave face. The conversation I have recorded is almost 3 hours in length. But for my mental health and yours, I'll be breaking them down to 20 to 30 minute episodes. This will hopefully make it a little bit more digestible and hopefully not dampen your mood too much. There is limited editing other than the overabundance of ums and pauses because I did not want to disrupt the flow. And to be honest, there's also a lot that is said in the quiet parts. Those moments remain. And something else to note. Skye's disappearance has been a part of our lives for 14 years. So if it seems casual, that is because it is. This is our normal. There will be various names of people in our conversation. Family members and friends of Skye. People that were also affected by Skye's disappearance. We are all flawed. Grief affects everyone differently. While time has helped us learn how to cope, time has also flawed our memories. My mother and I remember the events differently at times, and sometimes we remember nothing at all. I was 24 when Skye went missing. My mother was 54. And though we are family, we look at the world differently. We're from 2 different generations. So pain looks different. So without any apologies, let's get into this.
Okay.
So, yeah. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Annie.
Thanks for doing the podcast. We are going to be talking about Skye. Let's start from the beginning. Let's start before she even went missing.
Oh, gee.
When was she born? What was her delivery like?
Like all of them, very easy. You guys did not give me any trouble whatsoever.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. And you were all very different. Skye was always the quiet one. You were not. Skye was the one who she would. I'm going to try to understand. That explains Skye. Skye was the one who never gave an ounce of trouble. Matthew, I was always concerned about because of him being on the spectrum. You, because if I drew a line, you crossed it. And Skye, nothing. We never had an ounce of trouble with Skye. She was quiet. I think she kind of wanted to be invisible. I know she wanted friends, but she had such a hard time getting them. She saw you, which you always had friends. And she just struggled with that through her whole life. She just struggled trying to get friends, people to like her.
I mean, she had Allie. She had...
For a short time, Allie was only a couple years, and she was only in kindergarten and first grade, if you think about it. She had Shauna.
Yeah, there was that other girl down the street, Lisa.
Oh, yes. Actually, now that I think about it, yeah.
They were close for
a while. I remember her being so upset because Lisa was raised in a very religious family. And I guess Skye made a comment about her religion, and it kind of backfired on her. And after that, she didn't have Lisa anymore. Skye found it very hard to have a pile of friends. She had one. She held on to that one.
Was she friends with that other girl in the neighborhood? I think her name was Rachel. Because I was friends with her sister.
No, not really, no.
Okay.
And also, Skye was a homebody.
Yeah.
And she had Shauna. Shauna she had forever. And then she had a hard time in school. It's like most shy, introverted people. She had low self-esteem. She was a bit on the heavier side. She wasn't your pretty little cheerleader. She was just your average girl wanting to be accepted.
Yeah.
And when she actually, I had more, when she went to college, she got a clique of friends that she seemed so happy. And she seemed to be very interested. Now that I think back, she was a little bit obsessive about the Japanese culture, or at least the anime culture.
The anime and the manga.
Yeah. And that was something I have to admit, I didn't understand, but I didn't care as long as she had a group of friends that she could hang out with.
Yeah.
And to me, that was really important, because that's how you feel about yourself, is when you have people who like you, who want to be with you. You feel good about yourself that way.
Yeah.
When she got into college, that's where she met her friends, and I was happy if she went overnight. She's 20, 21, and we're talking home every night. There was no rebellion in Skye. You had a rebellious streak, but Skye did not. She had a few friends, and then the friends disappeared. I remember several times she said something. Maybe the friends were going to be, leaving anyway, but she took the blame on herself. And it was, when I really think back, it was just a struggle of a young girl, a young woman, who just wants friends and to be accepted.
Yeah.
And that was it. I remember her, because she was home every night, that she would come in that late at night and crawl into bed, and I'm falling asleep, and she's just talking about anime and stuff like that, and something that I didn't understand. And now I feel bad, because if I took the time, I might have helped out a little bit more. But it was mostly her self-esteem.
Yeah.
And she didn't talk about men or boys, but she did talk about if she was going to marry someone. She wanted to marry a Japanese man, she said. Just like that. I want to marry a Japanese man. I remember it's one of her just hanging out talking. And that was, it was really the introverted type of personality.
Yeah, I know. I often try to remember who she was during, like, school. Because I know that when I got into, like, high school, she was just getting into middle school. And then when I got out of high school, she was just getting into high school and I was going to college. So there was always a bit of a disconnect.
There was. And
you know?
I remember she had a friend named Sam. And Skye really, you could tell by her mood, her personality. When she had friends, she had someone she could hang out with, she just bubbled. She was just happy.
Yeah.
And I remember with Sam, there was an argument. And basically, they had a group of girls that they all ate at the lunch table. And they all hung out. And I guess Skye said something. Sam didn't like what she said. And from the rest of the year, I remember her telling me that she eats at the lunch table, but they turn their back on her.
Yeah. Like, that was, like, a common thing with Skye. Like, she always, like, said something that was just a little off, or something that just kind of, like, didn't vibe or jive well with the friend groups.
Yeah.
And it's just, sometimes I think back and I look at her mannerisms and just, she's not reading social cues right.
If I would say now, I love hindsight.
I know.
But now, I would say, 100% sure. She was on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Matthew was on the spectrum.
I think it's just, like, hard for, like, women, especially, to be diagnosed.
Oh, yes.
And I think also the parameters have definitely changed.
Yes. And also is with women, we're more social, I think, men. I mean, I don't want to generalize any sex when it comes to it, but why is it that women can go undiagnosed?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now that we see it, definitely.
And I think, like, even Dad.
Oh, yes, definitely.
But also, like, there's sometimes I feel like even just growing up with people who have, like, introverted tendency, like, we all do. We all, like...
Everyone,
isolate.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, even if, like, you didn't want to, even, like, I know I was always actively trying to fight that.
You did.
But, like, you still, it's almost by, like, you're almost guilty by association. You're, like, you're going to pick up on these mannerisms and things because that's all you see and that's what you know and that's what you grow up with.
I also see now that you guys are older, you're the one who struggled with it. You can see, I remember when you were working at Blockbuster and you would call me up and you would be hysterical. You had just had a confrontation with a customer. And out of all the people with social anxiety you were always with a customer service type of job.
Always. I hated it.
Oh my God. And
it was the worst. And I was like, how do I, like, get out of this, like, trajectory? Like,
and if you think about it, when you're young,
that's the only kind of job, like, you get.
Yes. And I remember with you is you would call me up and you were hysterical and I came down and basically you were in the back room and I just walked through and opened the door and I just held you. But you were fighting it. Matt did not fight it.
No. He
did not fight it at all. And Skye tried. She reminds me a little bit of both me and Dad. Well, no, actually, is that you remind me of that you're fighting Dad's part. With Skye, she didn't know how to fight it. I think that's what it was. She tried.
Yeah.
But she didn't know how.
Yeah.
But her fear was greater than her, shall we say, is her ability to fight it.
Yeah.
As simple as that. When we don't realize when we're raising our children, we're busy. Oh my God. Both parents are working. You have 3 kids. You're trying to get supper on the table. You're just trying to pay the bills and survive. And I hate to say it, but I watch you with your son now. And there was a lot of times, I went to bed exhausted, just tired. And if someone came into bed and was talking, I probably fell asleep in the middle of their conversation. It's just something that I have to live with. And yeah. But when actually I was working, you had your migraine. That was a couple of days before the guy went missing.
It was the same day.
Yeah, you had your migraine, and you called me up and said, "Mom, I can't feel my face. It's that." So I got out of work and I rushed to where you were and took you to the hospital, and we were there. And I knew Skye was going to be gone. She said that she was going to hang out with some friends.
Yeah.
And I didn't think anything of it. I said, if anything, I said, oh, good. Because she didn't have a social life.
Yeah.
And when she had an opportunity, I said, go for it, honey. Just let me know what's going on. And then you got sick, and a couple of days passed.
It was only like 2 days.
2 days. Okay.
It was the first, April 1st. It was like the same day.
Yeah.
It was the day that she went missing that I
Yeah.
had the migraine, and then maybe 2 days after.
Yeah.
Because I had to go back to the hospital.
And
like,
then
the
I was
following day,
in work, and
yeah.
I was calling her. That she had one of those flip phones.
No, she didn't.
No, she didn't.
No, she never had a phone.
Oh, sorry, I had it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I didn't know how to use it because that's when I finally realized.
Oh yeah, you did have a flip
I had the
phone.
little flip phone, which I
You
didn't
never
know.
used.
I never used. I didn't even know how
totally
to.
forgot that you even had
Yeah.
that.
I totally didn't even know how to use it. I only had it for if I needed to talk. Well, actually, in case of an emergency.
Yeah.
And I remember calling up. I called up her friend.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, "No, I haven't seen her. I haven't seen her for a couple of days." And I remember then starting to call Shauna and her friend, and then it was like I literally started to cry, and I went over to my coworker, and I was trying to do something else out there with the phone, and I couldn't get the number, and I said, "Here, you call for me." And I gave her the flip phone, and I then realized that Skye was missing. I haven't seen her for a couple of days. Oh my God! So I went home. I called the police, and that's when everything went quick. You did your phone calls, trying to track her down. I called the police. It was actually then that Matthew went on his computer and checked the email that Skye would have sent or used. And that was when we realized that she left.
Yeah. How long did it take for the police to come? I remember it took a while. Like, it wasn't a quick thing. What do you remember?
I remember we knew she left for Japan a couple hours. It was a couple hours.
Yeah.
I think. My mind is, like I said, our memories sometimes differ just because we were both in a state of panic.
Yeah. Because I feel like I remember that a police officer came.
They came to the door, yes.
And then they came back later, and like the second time, that was when Matt found the email.
No. He pretty well got the email really quick. And that was when we realized.
And that was because we knew that Skye didn't have a cell phone.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. We just knew that, like, hey, by whatever means of communication, we might as well check everything.
And we found out that she flew out. And I'm very foggy now that I'm thinking about it, is how they contacted Japan. Was that a day later?
I feel like it was, because that day that the police came, they were like casually like, oh, go check the airport for her car if she went. So like the police never went with us. We went down to the airport. It was me, Tim, you, and Dad.
Right.
And we were checking the entire parking garage, and then we found it outside of the parking garage because it was still like the commuter lot, but it wasn't in the garage.
Right.
And we found it and we were like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
There was like a big like, okay, so we don't know what it looked like before.
Right.
So we don't know if anything's missing or anything's amiss. And then we just drove it home.
We drove it home.
And then I think we called the police, let them know.
Yes, we did. At that time, Dad called the police, I think, and to let him know we did find the car. And then the police did get in touch, because we had the information that she left.
Yeah, but they got in touch with the airline too, just to confirm, right? Or did we wait until we got word from Japan?
We got word from Japan that she did land in Japan because they had her passport. Yes, yeah. And that was when we. That was when we talked to the embassy, and
they said that in order to get an investigation going there, we needed to go.
We had to fly out there.
Yeah, because they weren't going to start anything until we were there physically.
No, we had to physically get there.
Yeah.
And at that time,
and I remember a police officer being there at one point. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I guess you got to go."
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, yeah. I remember that now, honey. Yes.
Yeah.
And
it was just so like casual, like, "Oh yeah, you might as well just go."
Yeah. And I remember is when that whoever we talked to on the phone, that when they explained that for them to start anything going, we had to be there.
Yeah. So she left on the 1st, and by the time we got there on the 10th, that's 10 days. Where you can't even get a missing person investigation going because you're physically not there. Yeah. So that's a lot of wasted time already.
Yeah, basically, we were on our own trying to, it helped that with the passport.
Yeah, because they got in touch with somebody. It was down in Norwalk, and that was like they were able to expedite your passport.
Yeah, my passport on that. I can't believe it's been really that many days because I was numb. I have to admit, Meg, you stand up. You take over. You have 2 incompetent parents, and you just took over. And I can only say thank you,
Mom,
because that's what you did, honey. You took over for us. Dad has his own set of issues, and I tend to go blank when I'm in any kind of panic situation, and you just stepped up to the plate and said, I never forget when they told us that we had to go to Japan, and you said, because that you're listening to the conversation, and you said, yeah, and I looked at you and I said, yeah, we're going. Dad, because like I said, Dad had his own set of issues, so we're not even going to go there. But it was the 2 of us. Mm-hmm. I don't remember the trip, honey. I really don't. Now that a time has passed, but it was such a state of shock. Mm-hmm. This is because of Skye. If it was you, it would have been different. I would have expected something like that from you, huh?
Thanks.
But not from Skye.
I know.
Never from Skye. Skye was the quiet one.
What was your initial thought? Because my initial thought, when we found out that
Skye
went, I was like, holy shit, like, that is awesome.
Actually,
like, before, like, the gravity of it set in, I was just like, wow.
Good girl, Skye. Yeah. It was, because it's like when she told me, Mom, there's some friends over at campus. I'm going to spend the night. And I said, yes. Most parents would say, oh, be careful. And I just knew Skye was so quiet. She needed some friends, and she wanted friends so badly. She would have done anything. And that's why I truly believe Skye did not go to Japan by herself. She had to have help.
It doesn't make any sense.
Nothing makes sense except she had help.
Mm-hmm.